We're live. African song does not stop. The music goes on and on. Wow! Welcome on, welcome on. Welcome on, welcome all. We were just playing a mbira. Mbira, an old ancient Zimbabwean instrument. This instrument, they call it a baby piano. But in actual effect, it's actually the mother piano. Because the piano came in the 17th century. This was there from the 6th and 7th century, way back then. I'm actually guessing, because I don't know, because I was not there. So what they did is that when you look at the notes of the mbira here, the strongest note is at the center. And then it goes round and it creates a circle. And at the end here, it starts here again and goes that way. So you have 3 circles that are in one. You have this cycle of the bass, the cycle of the second voice, and the cycle of the third voice. But the white men then took the biggest note, put it on the extreme left, and then build it, because they think linear. They don't think cyclical. They think in squares. That's why they make houses in squares. They don't think in cycles. So in mbira music, you play in a cycle. For the lower voice, a cycle. For the middle voice, and another cycle for the lead voice. And all these 3 circles, like on the porcupine. The last time we're here. The 3 centers of defense. So you have the men, the stronger men at the base, you know. And then so that makes the mbira. And the word mbira comes to us from the word mbira, which is which is at the end, as I told you the last time. Is the one who created everything. Then Ra is the sun that has been sent by to rule us on earth. Ira is holiness, righteousness, purity. As Mkulu Bungane always says, abangoni, the people who are clean, who don't have sin in them. You know, so Ira is actually a people, clean and pure. Bira is a gathering, an event where people come together to celebrate, to worship, on festive seasons of Ra, who has come from So once people come together like this, it's a bira. It's a bira. Then mbira, it's an instrument that you play during bira, which is the environment itself, and the event is ira. Because it is ira, because Ra is here.
That's right.
And we are celebrating That's That's why the Venda people when they greet says Henda.
Yeah.
Then you go and that concept actually speaks to the recognition of that is outside of itself. So yes, this becomes, that's why when people say Zimbabwe is the vortex of spirituality for Africa, they're not buying your face. We are saying what we are saying on the basis of the history, the knowledge, the ancient knowledge that is actually incubated in us. And today I'm so excited. You guys, this is your show. You have 3 hours to talk to the nation of Africa, relating to us from ancient knowledge, relating to us from ancient information, stars, moons, cosmology, and this is a rare combination. And actually, let me be frank, guys, this is for the first time in the history of media that you are able to put together Umkulu, Zulu Matabo Zulu, and Gift Uzalwe Mbete on the same stage to be discussing the greater space of African spirituality. And I've listened to you guys. You wanted Gift many times. I've brought him 3-4 times. Umkulu just did 1 show for me. I've seen messages, 3, 4, 5, 6 messages. You want him back on. This is his 2nd appearance. But I thought maybe when I was sitting around in the week, I said, what do I lose if I can put these 2 energies together? And today I'm your student. You guys are my teachers. And he has done quite a lot of work. I want to do the introductions, then we're going to get away with it. For after this, they both will be talking. I'll be a student. I'll be sitting around. Yes, this beautiful book that he did entitled The Sacred Knowledge, of the Desert. Beautiful work. That's from his institution. He also did another one. And these are mine. I've already paid for them, these ones. A woman in the bush. Beautiful piece of work that he has done also. Back to back with that. He also done one called Holaboloko. Holaboloko meaning?
Is a beetle.
Holaboloko. But what is Hola? What is Hola?
Hola is to make the sphere.
Make
spherical ball.
Make a life. Make a future out of other people's rubbish.
Yes, my Lord.
Beetle goes to where the cow dung is and he collects that buloko and he makes something for his children. And because when he goes to that holabuloko, then he puts the egg inside.
Exactly.
So holabuloko means collect the rubbish that colonialism has given you as Africa and create a new dispensation for your own children. So people ask me, why are you shouting colonialism? And you are using a cell phone. I say holabuloko. I'm using the rubbish of the West to create the system. But this one is a killer. He wrote a mathematical book in Sesotho. Now, this is mathematics taught in indigenous African language. Now, if he did it for Sotho, we have 11 tribes in South Africa. Zulus, Pedis, Tsonas, and the rest of you. I think this is a masterpiece where we can begin to learn how best we begin to collect our indigenous knowledge, combine it with Western knowledge, and have... gentlemen in the back there, I suggest that you put his name, put his number. People would want these books. Can you please just give him a coverage?
Of course.
Then we know we're on the same page. And please, he has done 12, 13 books?
More than 10, He
has done more than 10 books, but for me, he brought me these 4 for a start. And I suggest that actually, for me, this is a project. That every African, if you say you are educated and you have a degree in commerce, write commerce in your own language. You say you have an educationist, write education in your own language. You say you are a mathematician, write mathematics in your own language. You say you have a degree in agriculture, write agriculture in your own language. This for me, when you were speaking to me the other day, my mind was cruising all around the various faculties of education, from engineering. Can you believe up to date, we don't have a blueprint. We don't have a blueprint of the building of the Zimbabwe ruins as a document that says the material is granite, the shape is X, the size is X, the positioning is X. Pyramids that were built in thousands of years ago are still standing. And they say we are primitive. Today it's going to be different. I think I'm going to lose myself. but I just let this conversation flow.
Right.
And I brought these 4 books written by Mkulu, Zulu, Matabo, Zulu. Brilliant scholar. He's actually a cosmology student and etc. But in my library, I got excited also. You forgive me. It's one of those rare moments where you get to see Maponga J in his glasses just to extend my eyes. I also got a book in my library that I thought I would also share, which is entitled Healing the Exposed Being. Healing the Exposed Being. And the beautiful piece of work, this is my library, this is done by the South African Ngoma tradition, how people are initiated into, I'm happy why I brought this, because there are some institutions that are beginning to take our conversation seriously. And when I saw this book actually says we can talk to our ancient systems and begin to put them into literature. And for me, even those who are being initiated into the greater space of Izangoman and Tonton, you can now have a library in your school. That while the man is with you for 6 months, at least
absorbing data.
He should have read one book at least,
data,
book, and you can review him on the basis of that. And we cannot mention literature before we also mentioned. I was walking on the shop on Friday last week, and I met our ancient writer himself by the name of Chinua Achebe on his great classic book, Things Are Falling Apart. The center is no longer holding. It's in my library, and when you spoke to me the other day, I would have failed if I didn't go back to my library. I read in my extra time, and I got this beautiful piece of work, the way of the Khoisan, the way of the Bushmen, how they dance around the fires, and actually are able to evoke and connect with the spiritual world, etc. Our conversation will run from political conversation to ancient ways, to healing and medicine, to cosmology and cosmogony in terms of literature and etc., to how do we maximize on how people have abused us, the value of women and etc. Ultimately, we are actually talking about the secrets of the African desert. So there you have it. Then this is in my library. Please don't come and rob me at night. Other people are robbing each other of money. You can rob me of education. But this gives almost no framework of our conversation of today. Sorry for such an elaborate introduction where I took all the time to introduce myself. And on my front is Ntate Zulu Matabo Zulu, the writer, a philosopher, an educationist, and actually a head of an institution for African knowledge system. With me here, I don't need to introduce him. If you have seen me for 3, 4, 5 times, I have my honorable friend, my guest, my brother, my mentor, my bouncing board. Oh, man. What would I be without you? What would I be? This is a man behind the curtains. When you guys don't see me, I'm with him. Busy trying to synergize and collect information so that we can come to a common understanding. Gift Uzalembete Umajodina. And with those few words, maybe someone is tuning in for the first time. I would give you each maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes at most to introduce yourself, who you are, what you're doing, and where you're coming from, and what brings you to the show.
Tawazan Makel. Master J, in the tradition of us in the spiritual circles, as the young one, we the ones who introduce ourselves first before the elders come in.
That's why I started.
So I wouldn't let my leader take precedence, otherwise my head won't open up today.
Okay.
Tawazan Makel. I'm born Tepiso Gift Majodina. I'm born in Vosloorus on the East Rand. I am born and bred. As a young boy, I went to boarding school away from my family. This is during the riots in the townships. This obviously was when my parents felt that I probably will not be safe because they were incidences that would happen, that we were close to the firing line, as it were. So for them, it was a question to say, let us send him away.
Send him away, lock him away.
Not knowing that they actually beginning my school when I came into this world, Master J. So so I grew up in a boarding school. I come back to Gauteng again. This was in KwaZulu-Natal, in a place called Emandeni. So I grew up there. I'm 9 when I leave home, and I come back when I am around 11 or so, or 12. And then coming back, I come back to Joburg. I am living with my mom. It's my mom and my young sister. And from there, we attend these, I don't know, so-called multiracial schools, or previously multiracial schools. Getting into that space, obviously, one now started getting exposed to a whole array of experiences and interactions and souls that you meet. And in the development of my personal self, this is where I would begin to find myself. Or
Majudina is finding himself. After the break, we want to hear his story in full before we can move over into other philosophical jargon, discussing how many angels can dance at the sharpest point of a needle. Today we are unmasking the greater philosophy and cosmogony of the great African people. After the break, we'll be with you.
Bye.
Bye.
Marcos.
I just want to go to the bag and this is my student.
Okay.
Oh, a student.
Marcos.
Who student? We are student. Togoza mkho.
Learning life discovering himself.
Okay.
Okay.
And uze nje uzobona utata lencwadi lebekezoyicela bezoyinansika. Which one of the books, ne?
Yes. Oh, Marcos.
Cosmology, Basotho, whatever. Yes, okay.
I just want 30 seconds, guys.
Yeah, so
I'm not wasting time today, so I'm not talking to you.
No, it's fine. So, when the introduce
Marcos.
Can I explain to them?
So are you willing to sit until we finish, or during break?
It's a 2.5 hour show, so if,
Okay,
yes.
Okay.
Marcos.
Hello. The fourth industrial technology era has forcefully changed how every profession has been working for its clients. The world has become smaller than what we used to think. Imagine the ease of talking to a person who is in Australia, China, or Germany while you are in South Africa, as if you're just next door. The ease that globalization and the fourth industrial technology have brought to humanity entail doing business anywhere in the world as long as you have the purpose and the means. It is our expertise as MB Chabangu Incorporated to advise clients immigrating to South Africa on various permits and on opportunities for travelers who intend to sojourn in South Africa for a longer period of time.
Ṣé rí pé ayé náà ti kéré ju èyí tí a rò lọ. Nítorí náà, ìmọ̀ wa ní ìsìlọ̀ àti òfin àgbáyé ṣe wá ní ọ́fíìsì àkókò lórí àwọn ìṣòwò ilé àti ìgbaniláyé láti gba ìwé ìrìnnà fún iṣẹ́ okòwò.
Ho MB Chabangu Incorporated, reba eleji di notary le basebedisi le di office tsa rena kwa Pretoria, Johannesburg le Bloemfontein. MB Chabangu Incorporated e humanega ga bonolo go bareki ba rena. Go humana tlhagiso leseding ka botlalo, re kgopela le re leletše mogala go 012 341 4187 goba le re ngwalele lengwalo tsebile go admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, mo mathata a humanago tharollo.
Back to you, Mkuluma Jodina, explaining your history all over your head.
So I coming back here. One now is exposed to a whole array of dichotomies. So and now I'm meeting this environment, and now in between these two environments, one is asking themselves pertinent questions about self-identity, about who am I, and who am I to be. And after having lost my father at that point, I think it also just switched. It switched my mindset, because at that time I don't think I started perceiving life in the same manner or in the same form as my peers, as it were. So I knew at that point in time that my life would take a different turn, Master J. I knew that it would take a different turn, and only for it to take a different turn where now I started having visitations. I would start having visitation from the elders, and obviously one is coming from a very Christian background, and that in itself had its own pillars that
creates
almost
conflict.
A serious conflict.
Because in church you are told these are demons.
And it takes a very long, it takes some time, not a very long time, but it takes some time to break down some of these ideas and some of these ideological concepts that when you start to confront them on a spiritual platform, you realize that they create blockages, and you can't even now begin to ascend, where now we were not given the tools that in spiritual growth there are ascension levels that one actually goes to in terms of maturing within that space. So now when one is beginning to have these visitations from beings who I was told were dead, and I should have nothing. I should have nothing to do with that aspect of my person of my life. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm left in this conflict to say now, these people come and I know them, and the conversations that we're having, I can understand, they are audible, I am logical, I am reasoning. It's nothing happening outside of my own will, as it were. So I'm having these conversations, and now when I come back into this world, I'm now beginning to interrogate these questions.
And deal with misunderstanding.
What's happening? What is happening with such and such? What is happening with such and such? So the journey leads, Master J. I'm having these visitations. I'm not comprehending. I am not comprehending because my mind is too English. It is too European in terms of conceptualizing.
And the religious.
Because that is where the problem is that we think in an English form, if I may put it like
as
that.
I call them.
There are certain ideas that are held within language that you will need language to break them down. Or when you begin to apply a different language to some of those ideas, you will hear a different thing. You will hear a different tone.
Because your default has already been told to be suspicious. This is spooky. This is demonic.
You know what I'm saying,
This
Master
is the
J?
devil.
So now this is the battle that is happening in between me now. This is a war that is happening. That am I religious? Am I traditional? What is going on? What is going on?
Am I talking to demons?
Am I possessed?
Or am I talking to if you say you're possessed, then you need a pastor who must come and put some fire and put some holy water on you.
And it's so unfortunate, Master J, that when we looking through these TVs sometimes and we see our people, and I can tell that that is an elder that they are calling a Satanist or a demon that is coming through, and I'm like, your pastor is so asleep. Your pastor is so asleep, and you guys are part of that blindfold where you see an elder coming through and who's possibly having messages that could even save,
and you block them out.
And they block them out, Master J. They block them out, and because they carry certain things, they end up blocking these people because now they tell them that they got demons. So nonetheless, we move on in that story. I deal with my own demons. So my journey leads me on my maternal side.
Let's put quote unquote.
Yeah.
You are dealing with your own reality.
My own reality.
Which interpretation, perception, and expectation looks at you and say, according to us, these are demon possession, and that expectation and perception is actually couched in the European system.
Because now this is some of the places that we need to go, perhaps within those conversations, so that we can make our people see exactly what was the strategy, what was the strategy and how did the strategy work, and which aspects did they come to in terms of their strategy to move us from our power base, Master J. So these are some of the things that one began to ask on a personal level, and I understood that I will not find these answers. And now I understand in retrospect that these were some of the promptings that were now leading me to take up my spiritual journey.
Okay.
So now I find myself in Sangoma gear. Now there is no trace in my family. There is no direct trace to say no, Yomkulu was the one who had this thing. I remember when I first came and I told my mom, for instance, and she was like, "But there's no one in the family who's like that." I can understand if you.
But she's only looking at the now.
By it,
and the immediate.
Again, this was context, because now on my maternal side, my grandmom is a prophetess. I don't know this because I'm nurtured by my grandmother as I grow before I leave. So I do not know that my grandmother is a seer. She is a seer, she has gone to practice, but I have no concept that this woman here is an elder in the true sense of the word. So for them, when it came, it was that thing to say, okay, if it is the gift, then maybe take it up.
And they gave you a name called gift. They gave you a name called gift. They didn't know you end up with gifts.
You know? So why don't you take it via the church system, you know, which is some of the things that we ended up now incorporating in terms of our systems of initiation, you know, where we would ironically take the very same Bible and initiate you in the mysteries of our ancients. You know what I'm saying? So now even the very same book of the enslaver, somewhere, somehow, the elders managed to code some data for us.
Hold it right there.
By it.
We're still doing introductions.
Zuluma
Tabo Zulu.
Mako.
It's the second time on my show. I'm excited. Just maybe for those who are meeting you for the very first time in their lives, you have a chance of telling us exactly who you are, where you are, what you do, who you do, and why you do.
Siyathokoza Makhosi. So, Kimucholoko, Dr. Zulu Matabo Zulu. I was born in Johannesburg, and my mother died when I was 12, so I had to leave Johannesburg. And I went to the Free State. My mother is from the Free State, Kimusutu.
Muloi means the witches, yeah.
No, actually, that's interesting.
No, yeah.
The missionaries say that.
I represent everybody.
But actually, Muloi is a chemist.
Muloi is a chemist.
Yes, because the word lawyer, it means to change the molecular action of the substance.
Wow.
So the first Muloi is the son of a great king called Kheti. Kheti was a doctor.
Take us through, Chief. We have all the time. Let's do a bit of history.
Sure.
Because I know it's going to get tricky here in the afternoon. But for a start, let's hear
Absolutely. And so
this one is mine.
So the first king was Kheti, and then he had a son. So he was a doctor practitioner, this king Kheti. And then his son, he named his son Muloi.
Muloi.
To say, I specialize in doctoral medicine. I want you to be a chemist. And he called it Muloi. Exactly. Yeah.
And the people who mix the herbs, what do you call them?
Amagedla.
Exactly. Yeah. Even the word Gedla. Also Mtagati means the same. The word Mtagati comes from the word Taga. Taga means to mix, to change the molecular action. You will hear a Zulu doctor say, "Gisayo Taga imiti."
We are Tagata.
Exactly. So, but Utagati is more on the chemistry side of it.
So Utagata is African chemistry.
Absolutely.
So I think we must change all African languages.
Absolutely.
I'm studying chemistry.
Yes.
You actually say I'm studying Utaga.
Exactly. Buloi. Yes. And here's the interesting thing: Africans are the inventors of chemistry.
I hope you are taking notes wherever you are. There, you are taking notes.
Yeah.
You're taking notes, yeah.
And Africans are the inventors of chemistry. Because if you analyze the word chemistry, it comes from the word alchemy.
And chemit.
Exactly, chemit, absolutely, yes. And when you look at what types of chemistry they were doing, it was, they were dealing mostly with what today we would call organic chemistry. So they're dealing with hydrocarbons. You know why? Because they are the people of the melanin. So they were studying about themselves. Exactly, very critical. And so Basotho still practice that idea of hydrocarbon chemistry. When they see the water, they say mitimatsu. In English would say black water. But actually, so they are saying, exactly, because what happens, this water, because it's coming from what you call a volcanic earth, space, it takes that volcanic color, that black, mitimatsu, black water. Yes. So it's still...
And metazweo. Or the clean water, what do they call it?
No, actually, metimatsu is at its purest state. That's interesting.
Water.
The black water is the purest.
Come on, take me through.
I'm telling you.
Take me through.
Yes.
Metimatsu. In terms of language, they are saying dirty water.
No.
No,
I see.
I'm saying in linguistic.
Yeah, I understand that.
So metimatsu means black water. But in actual effect, metimatsu
purest
is actually the water that is coming out of the earth.
Exactly, cleanest.
So it's like you're speaking in a...
Exactly,
it's
backwards.
It's the metaphor of the Genesis story.
Sure,
to say now, when the source is coming and saying, in the beginning, where was the source while the light was being manifest?
It was in the darkness.
It was in residence in the darkness. That is the pure light. That is the origination.
Pure light is darkness.
Those
of you who are coming from church, you need to get to the bathroom and wash your face first with the metzimatsu. For you to understand what you are saying here.
Exactly. And it's interesting, thanks for making that point. It's interesting that mesimatsu, we're talking about the primordial water, right? It is black because there was no light.
You're throwing me off again.
That is
too
the
much
primordial
in one line. Primordial water for the young students, these are the waters of birth.
Exactly.
Where we all sleep, and that which is spiritual. Your father is spiritual. But when he puts the sperm, which is water, in your mother's womb, the pre-model waters are able to convert spiritual waters into bone, into structure, into being.
Absolutely.
So water is a medium.
Oh, absolutely.
Between the spiritual and the physical. Hashtag that. Water is a medium between the spiritual and
the physical. Absolutely, absolutely. And the Basotho take it further. For example, light in Sesotho is called lesedi.
Lesedi.
Yeah. So the LE is an object reference. It refers to the object, the LE. And then the Sedi is saying to us that the light is from the water. Because D is the water. Remember we discussed
Mahdi.
Yeah, Mahdi. Naledi. So the D is the water. The SE describes the light. But it's saying that the light came from the water. So that came from the water. So if you ask the question and say, water, light, which came first? It is the water. That darkness, that black water.
That actually speaks to the Genesis story.
Absolutely.
Where we are told that the world was full of darkness and waters were there and a great expanse of the deep. And so light comes from the water.
Yeah, they say that water is the mother of light. And you can tell, and this here is an interesting part. When light is traveling at a high speed, right? What more than about 300,000 kilometers per second, right? The speed of light. But once it reaches water, it slows down because this is the mother.
Wow.
Yeah, it changes.
That's why.
And it gives us the color spectrum.
Exactly,
And now you have the 7.
And it diffracts.
Imagine. Allow me, maybe for the purpose of the structure, I'm just thinking while I'm talking to you, I may need to structure my mind so that the conversation takes a balanced sort of direction. So allow me, for the rest of the conversation, allow me to stand with the theological text so that I can be a bridge between the Christian community and this ancient cosmological and spiritual reflection. The Bible says there was water in the ground, and the Lord moved some of the water from the ground and he puts it into the sky. And when the light leaves the sun and goes through the waters that are in the sky, it's for that reason that we have color on earth. Because then the light goes through the water, it slows down, that's why we're not burnt. And that's why our skins are protected from the sun. So I'm actually hearing while you're talking that actually this cosmical conversation it has an interpretation in terms of explaining our physicality and how it's relating to the spiritual space.
Now, Master J, Master J, this is where some esotericists will tell you that we are inside a holographic image while we are in here because of that very science. When the light is coming in and then it refracts into its different spectrums. So in here now it's a play within colors. That's
life of a rainbow.
Now we have different manifestations happening because of these different color spectrums that are happening. And these are some of the keys that the initiates get given by it in terms of initiation. By it.
And then you were just mentioning about the sky and the earth. So when you go to this cosmology now, go deeper into the African cosmology, there was no water on earth, this particular earth we're living in. And then what happens is that there's a star that came. It's called Muchochonono. Muchochonono. Yeah, maybe let's explain Muchochonono. So a star is called Naledi in Sesotho, right? And then that word Naledi is telling us that there is water in the star. It was made with water.
There's a D.
There's a D. Yes, exactly. And that word D comes from the word called Mugedi. Okay. And then when the star moves across the sky, making a trail, like a comet or a shooting star, they call it Muchochonono.
My grandmother, when the star is moving in that direction, that's where your wife is coming from.
Okay. That's a good wife, actually. You need that one.
You must follow it. Where it is falling, that's where. And my stars were always falling to the south. Maybe that's why I ended up
So now that shooting star is called Muchochonono. The word Chochonono means a trail of the star.
Muchochororo. In Shona, it is actually the millicob. The hair that comes out of the millicob. That trail.
The cobweb,
on top of the
I see that. Yes,
that floor.
Okay.
Muchochororo.
Okay. But makes sense because it's making a trail.
Those lines.
They're making trails, yes. And then in Zulu, we'd call it Umfolozi. Umfolozi means that the trail. That's why there's a river in KZN.
No, let's not be scared. Even English, I think, is borrowing from Zulu. From Abangoni, who says Mfolozi. And inside Mfolozi, there's follow.
There's a Thanks for that connection.
So now that river in KZN is called Mfolozi Omnyama, the Black Waters. We're back to that in KZN. And then they're using now the cosmic description. Mfolozi is Muchochonono. Exactly.
And particularly because the way it also moves.
Exactly. Now that particular star in Muchochonono, fine. So if it was to fall on the ground, that star, like a meteorite, is no longer called Muchochonono. It's now called Lidumedi. So Lidumedi means it came from the stars. It came from the heavens.
That's why we said Gadume.
Exactly.
So when you say thank you, allow me to become philosophical. Because I think I have the tools.
Absolutely.
So when you say Kiadume, and an asteroid or a star that has fallen on the ground, Kidumed.
Yes.
When you say Kiadumed, you're actually saying to the person, you have acted like a star.
Powerful star.
You have fallen from the supernatural into my own space and changed my environment. So when someone says, actually you have acted like a star.
Absolutely.
Yes. In some of the imageries that we would use in terms of just dealing with the subconscious mind, we would tell the initiate that you are a star. But in the star, in the sense that you are also made up of these 5 elements. So when these 5 elements are activated or they're fully active in you, then you are a complete human beings.
When we come back after the break, I want us Mkhulu to take us through how stars fall from the heavens and they convert their names, and their names are changed from stars, from Bonaledi to Lidumedi.
Yeah.
After the break.
Powerful stuff.
Hello. The fourth industrial technology era has forcefully changed how every profession has been working for its clients. The world has become smaller than what we used to think. Imagine the ease of talking to a person who is in Australia, China, or Germany while you are in South Africa, as if you're just next door. The ease that globalization and the fourth industrial technology have brought to humanity entail doing business anywhere in the world as long as you have the purpose and the means. It is our expertise as MB Chabangu Incorporated to advise clients immigrating to South Africa on various permits and on opportunities for travelers who intend to sojourn in South Africa for a longer period of time.
Ayé náà ti kéré ju èyí tí a rò lọ. Nítorí náà, ìmọ̀ wa ní ìsìlọ̀ àti òfin àgbáyé ṣe wá ní ọ́fíìsì àkókò lórí àwọn ìṣòwò ilé àti ìgbaniláyé láti gba ìwé ìrìnnà fún iṣẹ́ okòwò.
Ho MB Chabangu Incorporated, re ba eletsi dinotari le basebedisi le di-office tša rena kua Pretoria, Johannesburg le Bloemfontein. MB Chabangu Incorporated e humanega ga bonolo go bareki ba rena. Go humana tlhagiso leseding ka botlalo, re kgopela le re leletše mogala go 012 341 4187 goba le re ngwalele lengwalo tsebile go admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, mo mathata a humanago tharollo.
Feel the heat.
All right. To make it through this journey alive, you're gonna need someone to teach you the ninja way.
Don't just stand there, kill someone! Feel the excitement. Feel the heat.
A star falls from the heavens.
Yeah.
My name is Maponga J, here on your program Sankofa. With me today is our honorable guest, Untade Zulu Matabo Zulu, a writer and anthropologist and a mathematician. And back to back with him, I have also brought for you Mkhulu Gift Majodina, who is a practicing indigenous healer and also a Gobela in his own right. Before we went for the break, you were taking us through when a star falls from the heavens.
Absolutely.
And it reaches the ground.
Yeah.
We change its name from Naledi to
Lidumedi. Powerful stuff because as we pointed out in the last show, that the Basotho, like other Africans, trace their origins to the cosmos, and they believe they come from the stars, and they call themselves Vadumedi. Now, just to give a bit of context, today when you ask anyone and say, what is Mudumedi, they're going to say to you, somebody goes to church. But then in my institute, Madisebo University College, we do a lot of research and linguistics, very important. So we say, but the church came through colonization. So it cannot be the case that Mudumedi is linked to the church. When it actually pre-exists the advent of the church. Prior to the church.
The Christianization of Africa.
Absolutely.
We already had Badumedi.
Exactly.
On the ground.
On the ground.
Before.
Centuries.
Badumedi Bakerek.
Yeah,
centuries before.
Yeah. So then that's when we trace that. We find that, okay, since they trace their origin to the cosmos, let's go to the cosmos. We'll get the answers there. And definitely that star that trails across the sky, they call it Muchochonono.
Muchochonono.
Yes, which describes the fire.
And the tail.
And the tail, exactly. That is the key. And then if that star falls to the ground, they change the name. They no longer call it Muchochonono. They now call it Lidumedi, which means it came from the stars. They want you to know.
It came from,
exactly.
Because I'm a good student. It came from the stars, where there's water.
Where there's water, absolutely.
You must never forget that.
No, we're on that point.
I'm reminding my own teacher.
Absolutely. And now, on this earth, there was no water. And what happened is, a certain star came, which is Muchochonono.
Muchochonono.
Yes, that star came. And when this star came, it began to drop black waters. Actually, that's interesting. But this was very hot. Yeah, Mitsimatsu. Yeah, it dropped Mitsimatsu. Very hot black waters. Yes. And then this is how the water was born on this earth, separating the oceans
and the land
and the lakes. Yes, and the land and the lakes and the rivers. What's also interesting is that the lake is actually an ocean. It's actually a sea. Yes, it's not just your normal dam or anything like that. It's an ocean, but it's an ocean on land.
Ocean on the land.
Exactly.
The Lake Victoria.
Exactly, it's an ocean on land. It has got waves, just like the ocean. Exactly. The only difference is that it doesn't have the salt.
It is sweet water.
Exactly. 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 And it will take the color of the volcanic space and becomes black. So that's very critical. And this fact is also attested for by the great Isanuse, like Credo Mutwa. It makes the point. Yes.
Oh!
Yes. Exactly.
Vusamazulu. So I spent some time with him. I went down to Kurumane and we had our own conversations there. But which are not subject to this table.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, I was of course.
Still on the lake. That lake is
it's an ocean, yes.
But it's just the taste of the volcanic texture around it.
Exactly. And it's interesting that when you were describing the Mbira, and thanks for really giving us that crash course. It's highly appreciated.
Thank you.
And you gave us those 3 circles. That's very powerful, right? And each circle has got its own octave, frequencies,
Cool.
and they move in a circle. And that reminds me, of course, as we talked also last time, the animal Nuku in Susutu, the porcupine. And I'm glad that you have that.
In Shona is Nungu.
Nungu, okay. I think it's the same in Zulu. Nungu, yeah, in Zulu, exactly, Makos. So it's quite interesting that when this animal is attacked by a predator, it will form the defensive rings. And there are 3 of these defensive rings. Exactly, yeah. There will be ring 1, and there will be ring 2, there will be ring 3. And these are concentric rings. That's another important point, right? Concentric circles. So that means it is a ring within a ring within a ring. Exactly, yeah.
And with different spikes
and
strength.
Exactly, according to the diameter of the ring.
And the intention. The first intention is not to kill.
Yeah.
The first intention
is to keep you at bay. Yeah, just to say
if you
that
think
don't
not serious, you come on the next level, then it's slightly more painful.
Yeah.
But the 3rd ring,
those are
deadly.
Yes, it's deadly.
Because once those things go through you, I've noticed. See these ones for distracting you. They are just to mess up your nose. And and
don't
it's
come
like
don't come close.
When you come to the middle ones, the thick ones, they have a longer, sharper,
and more diameter.
So that by the time it pokes you, it sinks. Almost 10 to 15 centimeters into your skin, and you cannot take off those things. And the animal will die of wounds where the arrow cannot be taken off.
Even the heart, actually, you see that small one, it actually pierces the heart. Because again, the lion, when it attacks,
then the thing goes like this.
By doing this thing, it's opening the heart of the lion. It's no longer protected here.
You attack when you are vulnerable.
Exactly.
That takes me back to karate now.
Exactly.
They said every time you are throwing a punch,
you're vulnerable.
That's the time you are actually exposed.
Wow. Yeah. And then that's when now the porcupine now is gonna inject the
3rd level
and make sure that it penetrates. It pierces the heart, and that's the end.
And the older lions know.
Yes.
The older lions know you don't temper.
You don't. Because just to come in, to say now, it's one of the porcupine is one of the spiritual totems that we have as Africans. And now, just from this analogy, to say now, they have these rings within rings within rings. It almost akin to the story of, is it Ezekiel?
The wheel within a wheel.
The wheel within the
That's
wheel.
Ezekiel chapter 1.
And now we are talking about what at that point? We are talking about the Merkaba. We're talking about the spiritual vehicle. So now that is the relationship now between us and the porcupine. To say within the initiation schools, we are also opening up the wheels within the wheels.
You need to learn the ways of the porcupine to understand the levels of spirituality.
You find some of these karates or kung fu techniques that will tell you that all great masters have studied all animals in nature for whatever technique or style.
Yes. You want to do the monkey style. You want to do the snake style. You want to do the leopard. Or you want to do the crazy.
And these postures, by the way, are prayer sequences. But that's for a later period. But what we are saying is that these are where we're saying now the initiate would study these patterns. They would study these patterns, and from these deductions, this is when we also understand, just from this analogy, we also understand what is happening also in the ether by Adam Cole. I just wanted to
Marcos.
Over to you, Professor. We are your students today. I'm having fun. I must say, just off the record, I'm having quite a good time here. It's a beautiful Sunday. I love my job. I'm the only guy who wakes up in the morning to go out of his house to go and get happy. I will not do what I don't like doing, and I am.
And that is the ideal, Master. That is the ideal.
I've stopped working. I'm on retirement, meeting beautiful, interesting people who are educating me.
And the sentiment is mutual.
Wow.
Thank you. And so so the whole idea of stars and animals, as you pointed out, they're very critical because Africans regard animals as abantu.
Beings.
Yeah, you'll hear Basotho bare batho bao ba lapile ba tshelle dijo. And they're talking about chickens, they're talking about izimvu, whatever. But batho bao tshwantse ba hlokomele. Yes. So they are very important to us, and they are also sacred. And it's very critical because if you look at animal, let's say we're talking about the porcupine, for example, or even the animal that is at home, like for example a cat or a dog. It will not talk like as we are talking. And that's part of the cosmic design. It's not supposed to do that. But it can communicate with you spiritually.
And you can hear it.
And you can hear it. Exactly.
I put a picture this morning on my Facebook page. I put a baboon. This is early in the morning. And in my tribe, we say baboon is Manamatanga Kugar, where the first announcers of daybreak, the monkeys, Mumtene.
And Ujambas, that's us. That's my grandfather.
Are you Jambas?
The father of my father is started from Queenstown. How about that? Ekomani and Lady Frey. Ujambas.
You notice a moment of silence.
It's a recognition of self, Master.
Oh yeah, we are the fairness.
Yes,
wisdom carriers.
I'm Mfene also.
Oh, Mako.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm your grandmother. I'm glad we gave birth to a good son.
Yeah, Mako. And I will tell you a secret. I'm even following the Mfene diet. You know the food that is eaten by
baboons.
Oh, gorillas is a very incredible food. They eat, for example, 50% fruits. And then 35% raw green leaves. And then 10% seeds, and bark and all that. And then 5% insects, whether we're talking local.
Meats. Once in a while, a baboon will kill an impala.
Yes, but it's like a 0.0001%.
Yes.
And in my case, I'm not a vegetarian, but I eat plant-based food 99.99%. And 0.001%, I will eat the meat.
You will eat meat.
Yeah.
So the baboons died, actually.
Oh.
And if science was true that we come from the apes, then actually I think we should all follow the diet of the apes.
It's a very good diet.
We are closer to good health.
But I don't subscribe to the evolution theory myself personally.
No, I was just mentioning it in passing. Even if they would say, if this was true, then the diet of the mother is always better for the child.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But you were saying something.
Ngwenyama, Mkulu is making a reference to a very critical point, to say that from our totems, this is some of the data that people can draw from. Because sometimes people just want to acknowledge their totem just as it is, and not understand that at the finest point of it, from just this totemic energy.
Did you hear what you just said?
What did I just say? So now what we are saying is that at that point, this is some of the things that we can draw from these symbologies.
You know what you're saying?
As some of the things to balance your energy within the space.
What you're saying is that if your totem is a Mukwena, for example, you live in the water, but take some time to be in the sun.
Yeah.
That's your totem.
Yeah.
Learn the ways of the crocodile.
Yeah, exactly.
And create a DNA of behavior.
Yeah.
In terms of timing.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the Bible says crocodile is the master of all creation. I read it the other day in the book of Job 38, somewhere there. He's the master of the field.
Yeah.
And then Job asked, but why? He says, he's the only animal that never goes hunting. But the universe brings food to his mouth. So when the animals are hungry and they're thirsty,
they come to him.
Come to the water. And actually the Bible then acknowledges that a crocodile does not need to be chasing animals in the bushes. So if you are a Mkwena, most likely your behavior must be that of waiting. And learning the ways of your totem. So that your timing and your striking and your feeding is within the greater DNA of your totemic understanding.
Why did the ancients choose even those elements? Why did they choose that particular being? Because these are binaries, Master J. So if you are going to say to find yourself, find your people, or find your tribe, or find your, we are taking you back to these primordial matrices, as it were.
My head is heating up. Let me take some water here for a break. As I am processing this, you know, when you are driving a car at a high speed. And you feel the engine now, the temperature going further up, and I feel my engine is heating up a little bit. We'll allow this conversation to take the direction that it must take. What I had planned and what's happening here are two different. After the break, with Mkulu Zulu, Matabo Zulu, and Mkulu Zalembete Gift Majodina are with us here discussing the greater expanse of African cosmology and African epistemologies, making sense of the past so that we can actually forge the future.
Feel the heat.
Alright. To make it through this journey alive, you're gonna need someone to teach you the ninja way.
Don't just stand there, kill someone! Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with Starsat. Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful! This is exactly what I was looking for! DJ Khaled!
It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action.
I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir. You know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you know, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with Starsat.
crocodile. Take us through the movement of the crocodile space. Yeah. As you're explaining.
Now, Kehla, when we look at it in terms of within the chematic space, as it were, and the symbology that is inherent there, and when we look at and then taking that within the framework of Yobongoma, where now you will find an initiate wearing ilanga. If it's not ilanga, then uzo koga ingwe. Or uzogqoka ibhubesi. Again, it is speaking to the procession of the sun. It is speaking to the initiations of the sun. That's why we are light beings. In contrary to what the world taught us to be, we are the carriers of light. We are the transporters of the light. That's why now we follow the patterns of the light. So now, even when Utwasa is at initiation schools, when we align their program, we align it in terms of where the positions of the sun is, in terms of how the day is progressing. So now, why do we do that? We do that because now we understood as Africans that the sun is an entity. It's a being. It's an energy. It's a consciousness of some sort. So now, at certain times during the day, there are certain energies or vibrations or gateways or portals that are opened for us to access different spaces within the cosmic reality.
Now, when you read the Bible, Daniel prayed 3 times a day. To me, that speaks of the windows of time. Because then if he is praying at 9 in the morning, and by the way, some of you guys who are Christians, shame on you, because the level of your thinking vis-a-vis the level of your obsession, it obstructs your mind from understanding common sense. Your sanctuary message, according to the Bible, the first time of the first sacrifice is 9 in the morning. Time of the second sacrifice is 12 midday. Time of the third sacrifice is 3 in the afternoon. If you should follow the death of Jesus or the death of Yeshua, and what happened at 9 in the morning, that's when they put him at the cross. And what are the 7 words that he spoke? And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, what did he say? Not only that, look at Elijah on Mount Carmel, calling on the false prophets who had done a sacrifice. Pray, 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 pray. They failed. What did Elijah say at midday? Your God is fast asleep. And at the time of the last evening sacrifice, which is 3 in the afternoon, Elijah then looks up into the heavens and says, please, Lord, show yourself. Boom, it happens. You look at Joshua praying, stopping the sun. You look at all these biblical illustrations that are actually telling you that miracles don't just happen at any time. There is a cosmic timetable that surrounds the greater events. And in the midst of us actually beginning to have a conversation around or the cosmic timetables and the timetables of great intersection, where the alignment of our Earth's cosmology is actually in line with the greater universe, and the amount of energy that is transmitted from the other to the other. Even the book of Job asks, do you know when goats get pregnant? They don't just get pregnant anyway. Do you know when a woman gets pregnant? You don't just get pregnant anyway. There is a certain cycle at a certain time, and the timing of the meeting and the timing of the woman, if it meets together, that's when it happens. So there's nothing happening happenstance. There is a cosmical wheel that is actually turning. And when that cosmical wheel faces and clocks in with the events that are happening on the physical cosmology, then can you actually begin to have changes. I don't know how I can begin to explain and empty my head to some of you people who that kind of an obsession with myopic kind of thinking that obstructs your greater cosmological understanding. The Bible is cosmological. In the beginning, God created the heavens, cosmos, and the earth. you begin to actually see elements of cosmology. I don't know. Sorry, guys. I'm just getting worked up here.
Yes.
And if you pick up anything in what I'm saying, please build up on that.
I just wanted to come in there. I think also, and thanks for making those points, but I think it is also prudent to make the point that when the Jews wrote the Old Testament, they actually borrowed from the ancient African scriptures.
Not borrowed, stole.
Stole even, you know. So that means they took more.
They took more
without permission.
Without permission.
With intention of not returning to the rightful owner.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's quite interesting that in the historiography of the Bible, something that I have a great interest in. Remember the book of Exodus, which is about the departure from Egypt,
the return,
to Canaan. It's very interesting that actually that is based on a fiction. There is no such a thing. The Jews never lived in Egypt. There was never an Exodus. A lot of theologians, when you do research on that, they will tell you that no, there is no evidence of that. But what happened is the Jews, they were in Canaan. That's quite interesting.
They were
in Canaan.
Canaan,
which is Palestine today, right? And the Egyptians,
which is North Africa.
Exactly, yeah. And the Egyptians.
Let's talk about black Jews, not these Ashkenazis.
No.
So let's go back to the ethnography,
the original
and historical faithfulness. So that even when you talk about Canaan, you talk about the Jews. In our minds, we need first of all to delete an idea that there's anything that is white that is a Jew. The Jews that repented into Christianity are the Ashkenazis. Those are the Turkish people. And by any means possible, they are not Jews. Because the history and the geography of Hebrew nations is North Africa. And my Bible says, and God created a garden north of Eden. It means therefore that Africa is Eden. If there was anything called a garden, it was east of Eden.
And I think
but many of us take the garden to be Eden, instead of considering Africa to be the Eden. Eden has no name. The garden they're talking about has no name.
It's an environment.
It says
Eden is an environment. It is not a place.
He planted a garden east of Eden. So if you cannot identify where Eden is, you never know where the garden was.
And you know, that's interesting because you know where is Eden, that Eden today, it would be Kampala in Uganda. You know what's interesting about that place? You know, if various places, you know, the time changes according to the season. Kampala is exactly like that. It doesn't change.
Doesn't change.
So you can plant food
from Genesis to Revelation.
Exactly.
From January to December.
Exactly. That is the only such place on the planet, by the way.
Kampala. That's in Uganda.
Uganda.
See, the other time I was talking about the history of Nelubale, Sese Islands, Runzuri, places of energy, Guruswa, Embo, and all these things you hear. Actually, that history starts on the navel, the embryo, the embo of the world, which is the popping out of the river of Nile, by the only river in the world that comes out of the land.
Yes.
Into a lake.
Yes.
Lake Victoria comes out of the Nile.
And has many sources.
Africa is a continent. On the navel of Africa,
exactly,
there pops out water.
That's powerful.
And that water forms out the river Nile. The only river again that flows and opposes all other rivers.
That's right.
It flows in the opposite direction. All other rivers flow east. Nile flows to the east for 3,700 kilometers.
More than 6,
miles. Watering the entire land of Sudan into Ethiopia, into Egypt. So when you begin to talk about the
navel.
The navel.
Yes. Mukhubu. Yeah. Ingabe. Yes. You've hit it hard. You've hit me now. No, you have hit on the point. And you know what's interesting about the Nile River is that it is actually going against gravity, because the north is up, is high altitude. The south is down there. Yes. And the reason why
the river flows upstream.
It's going up, yes, it's going upland, upstream, you know, it's going up.
It will take another generation, Zulu. Let me say this. Our conversation today are not for this generation. They are for the next generation.
For the future.
It will take another generation that will go to Nile and study and consolidate this information that we're talking about. That the center of the universe, the center of humanity, is actually Afrocentric.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me declare it, even if the scientific world can refuse, that humanity begins in the basins of Mount Kilimanjaro.
Marcos.
In the banks of Lake Victoria.
Yes.
Nelubale, Runzuri, Sese Islands, Jaja, and the River Nile. That is Embo.
Yebo. And
that is Guruswa. The Great Rift Valley, where 3, 4, 5 million animals still run across.
Absolutely.
The greatest garden of them all still remains.
And starting right here in Southern Africa, the Rift Valley, starts right here, all the way and crosses into the Middle East.
Remove the borders. You might actually discover that even part of what we call Karoo.
Yes.
And it's part of
It's part of that. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, and again, because of political misunderstanding, people want to now know geographically where is Kuruman and where is Kampala. Whereas this whole plane forms with no borders, it's one big plane.
One big plane. You know what's interesting too is that we talked a bit about demons. You know, you were mentioning the aspect of demons. And I wanted to refer to comment on that. So actually, the demons don't mean what they mean. Remember that.
And we don't have that name demon in our African language.
No, we don't. We don't have Satan. We don't have. Now remember that. Remember the Roman Empire. Jesus Christ lived under Roman Empire, colonial empire. So the Jews were under colonial conquest, colonial occupation by the Romans. And so Judea was actually the center of anti-colonial resistance. That's why Judea became the center was actually a military base. The biggest military base of the Romans was in Judea, you see.
To manage the resistance.
Exactly. Now, when you read from, how many books are in the Bible? About 66, right? 27.
The White Bible.
Yeah, exactly.
The white, no, we are grown up now.
No,
we are grown up now. So when you by now, I know the difference between the Bible and Scripture.
No, absolutely, of course. Absolutely, of course. There are more Scriptures, actually.
than the Bible.
Exactly. Now, what's interesting?
800 years difference between the Bible and Scriptures.
You look at that. And what's interesting is that the Romans, who were this colonial superpower, who had conquered Middle East and so forth, it's very interesting that the military base was in Judea to suppress the anti-colonial resistance. Now, when you read the 27 books of the New Testament, from Matthew, the first book, to Revelation, the last book, it's very interesting that you will never find one instance where Jesus speaks positively about the Jews, his own people who were under colonial occupation. Let's make an example. In chapter 8, Matthew, he's busy healing people there. Right? He's doing great work. And then a centurion comes.
Yes. That's a Roman.
Yes. A centurion comes.
Yes.
A centurion says, Master, I have a servant at home who is sick. And theologians say that servant was actually a slave. And then I would like you to come in. I would like you to heal him. And Jesus says, I will come to your house to heal your servant. Let me after I'm finished here. The centurion says, Master, you don't need to come.
I'm a man of great power.
I'm the man of great power. I'm the master.
I speak.
I speak, and it happens.
So please.
When I say to the servant, go there, he goes. When I say to the slave, do this,
they do.
They do. So, Master,
send the word.
Send the word. Yeah, you don't need to come. And Jesus was amazed, and he says, of all children of Israel, I've not seen one
greater faith
than this man, this centurion. And he says, according to your faith, you are healed. And then the Bible says, at that instant,
immediately.
Yes, immediately, the servant was healed. Now, this man who is said to be the greatest faith, who has the greatest faith, he's actually a military commander. You know what is a centurion? A centurion is a military commander of 100-regiment soldier. His business is to enforce the brutal colonial rule of the Romans.
How ironic.
And it's quite interesting that his people who are brutalized, he says, this man is better than my own people. It is not different from me during apartheid, saying B.W. Botha is better than my own people. You know, so it's quite interesting, and in fact, as you go through all these things, so that's when you realize now that it's very interesting that the whole New Testament is actually a pro-Roman text. You know, a very anti-Semitic, if I may.
The only time you meet the African
no offense.
no offense, the only time you meet the African on the Synoptic Gospel, only time.
Yeah.
Twice actually.
Yeah.
It's on the appearing of the Jewish Magi.
Yeah.
Who went to the east.
The east, yeah. When during
if you pick up if you as a theologian, and I can challenge you back at home, since it is a Sunday, you have enough time to study. Abraham had a wife, Sarah. Then he had a wife, Hagar. He had a wife, Zipporah, and says he married also after Sarah died. So he might have been 3 or 4 wives. But just to cut it short, then at the death of Sarah, Abraham says, I don't want these children of the slaves to actually have an inheritance with my son, Isaac. Then he took gifts for them, gold, myrrh, and frankincense. If you're a classic reader, go and read for yourself. And he sent them to the east.
Listen to that.
The next time you see people coming from the east, are the Magi, the wise people. Who had studied cosmology.
Yes, absolutely,
To see the stars, and knowing that the stars have a direct impact on what is happening physically. And they followed a star.
Right.
And when they arrived, they brought back the gold.
Frankenstein.
The myrrh. And the frankincense. For me, that passage then combines the Old Testament theology and the New Testament theology.
Absolutely.
And the next time you see a black person appearing in the Bible, Simon of Arimathea.
And sorry, not to cut you short, but I want to
Simon of Cyrene, sorry.
I like the Frankenstein aspect. You know where the Frankenstein comes?
Impep.
Yeah, the Frankenstein is from actually from Somalia. They are the large, that's why even one of the great queen from Egypt made a trip. Remember, there's a whole thing on the Egyptian manuscripts about the trip that was made from
the Egyptian queen
to
Somalia to go and look for
the Frankensteins. They have more than anybody. Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why there's military occupation, there's military invasion
of
Somalia. You see. It's quite amazing.
Spiritual.
Oh yes. And in fact, so I was going to connect with it.
And let's agree.
Yeah.
We have a country in Africa called the Gold Coast.
Yes. Ghana.
Which is Ghana.
Yes.
We have a country in Africa which produces the highest of frankincense.
Yes. Somalia.
And if you are talking about the 3 wise let's look for the 3rd one. Where they produce myrrh, with the oil for the skins to protect from bacteria and etc. If we can find those 3 countries, maybe we have the 3 wise men from the east.
Well, actually, in the Free State, we produce oil from the plant called umhlonyane. Yes. That oil, there's no insect that will come.
Bite you from
No.
There you go.
In fact, the plant itself, if you look at it grows on the volcanic soil. That's very well back to the volcanic soil. It
grows
the black soil, volcanic soil. If you look at those mountains of the Free State and Lesotho, it's black. That's
black soil.
That's volcanic soil. The greatest soil on the planet. Exactly. If you look in North America, for example, in Canada, they don't have fruits because of the ice. The fruits come from the south, countries like Colombia, they've got volcanic soil. So they've got any fruit you can think of.
Volcanic soil.
Volcanic soil.
Is the soil.
Is the soil. Mitzimatsu. Mitzimatsu.
And the other, the water we call it metzi.
Mitzimatsu.
This is mitzi.
I know.
This was metzi.
I was just saying because you know the water there is gonna be mitzimatsu.
Okay.
Volcanic, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Now that oil, we do it in the freeze. That oil, I'm telling you, there's no insect.
So let's write some theology.
Yeah.
Let's write something because we are educated.
Macros.
We can make what do you call them? Suppositions, which can be proved later.
You mean hypothesis?
Hypothesis.
Yeah.
So let's agree that the oil is from the southern kingdoms.
Yeah, exactly.
The gold is from the Gold
west.
Coast.
From the west, exactly.
And the myrrh, the frankincense.
From the east.
Frankincense.
Yes.
From Somalia.
The great, the land of Punt. You remember that?
Punt.
Yeah.
So the three wise men.
Exactly.
Are Africans.
Yes, exactly.
Who came to see the birth of a Messiah.
Yeah.
Gold for the kings.
Yeah, Marcos.
Frankincense for the prophets. Myrrh for the priests.
Yeah, Marcos.
The thrice anointed.
Yeah.
The orders of the Melchizedek.
Nina man senza imbi. Now throw it over to you. I want you to build on that.
But I needed to finish the I didn't even finish my introduction. Na yazi bathini bathi ungakhala uzawufela embelekweni. Yasashika utafela latha utlasho latha ring yasaleshali. Kwarasale usho latha ring. Okay.
Oh, what is it?
But this demon one is very important to me.
Yes. You are mentioning something about a demon.
So
you want the
New Testament.
The New Testament,
yes.
and the centurion.
Exactly, yes. So and you can see that the centurions, they brutalize the anti-colonial resistors, but they protect the pro-colonial establishment. Remember, Jesus says, "Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar." Very important. That's a pro-colonial stance. And there's another one where Paul, he is teaching in the temple, and he gets attacked. They said, "This is the one who was denigrating our temple." Remember that? And the dragon, guess who protects him? The centurion. You remember that? Exactly. The Romans. So it's quite interesting that the colonial establishment protects these disciples and so forth, you know. If you look at Judas Iscariot, it's very interesting. The name Iscariot, you'll never find it anywhere, right? And as we did extensive research, we found that actually the name Iscariot is a play on the name Sicario. Sicario, yes. Now, Sicario, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. The name Messiah actually doesn't mean
Messiah.
Yeah, doesn't mean what the way it was described. Jesus was saying that he didn't come here to physically, emancipate. So, but the name Messiah actually means a military leader.
An anointed one to bring liberation to.
And we're talking physical liberation here. From colonial, from foreign occupation. That's what the Messiah is.
That's why the Jews were waiting for you.
Exactly.
To perform.
To perform.
And Iscariot
exactly.
was a rebel. Perform.
Exactly.
So was a rebel.
So what's interesting is that the Messianic movements,
Zionists.
Yeah, there is what.
Zealots.
Today in South Africa we would call them liberation movement, Chimurenga movements.
The EFF.
Yes, EFF
of the Bible.
Yes, the Chimurenga, the ANC, PSC. These are messianic movements, according to that interpretation. Now they had another movement that was more extreme, more militant than these movements. They were called Sicario. Yeah, Sicario. And these are people that basically, if you were a spy of a colonial establishment, they took you out.
That's where Simon the Zealot comes from.
Yeah, there we go.
One of the disciples.
Yeah, they took you out. But it's very interesting that, and they didn't want spies. That's the first thing, that was the most important thing. Now, it's very interesting that the New Testament says Judas Iscariot is a spy. Is it not interesting? Exactly. So what they're doing now, they are trying to denigrate that Sicario movement. You see, in fact, the word Judas is from the Judas Maccabees. And you know, it doesn't appear in the Testament, but you'll find it in the Jewish Bible.
Yeah, it's also found in the writings of Josephus.
Josephus, the great Josephus.
The antiquities of Josephus.
The antiquities, exactly. Yeah. So now, Judas Maccabee is a priest who goes out and wage a war against a colonial occupation. Very important. And he does it successfully. Now, what the Romans do in the New Testament, they want to denigrate this Judas idea.
They threw him in the Iscariot.
Exactly. Then they come with a new name, says it's Judas Iscariot. But you'll never find it. But you'll find Iscariot. He appears in Josephus' books, for example, right? He talks about them. He doesn't like them, of course. But I understand.
But he accounts for them.
And that's because, you know, Josephus, of course, as you remember, he was one of the Roman resistors. But then he's captured there. And then he becomes now a collaborator. He defects, in other words.
Let's take a small little short break here while we are having our small little conversation here with my honorable friends, Dr. Zulu, Matabo Zulu, and our Professor Emeritus here, Gift to Salembet. When you come back after the break, Gift, you were about to say something there, and I cut you short there. When we come back, you can open up the program for us. Just after the break.
Hello. The fourth industrial technology era has forcefully changed how every profession has been working for its clients. The world has become smaller than what we used to think. Imagine the ease of talking to a person who is in Australia, China, or Germany while you are in South Africa, as if you're just next door. The ease that globalization and the fourth industrial technology have brought to humanity entail doing business anywhere in the world as long as you have the peppers and the means. It is our expertise as MB Chabangu Incorporated to advise clients immigrating to South Africa on various permits and on opportunities for travelers who intend to sojourn in South Africa for a longer period of time.
Ṣé ayé náà ti kéré ju èyí tí a rò lọ. Nítorí náà, ìmọ̀ wa ní ìsìlọ̀ àti òfin àgbáyé ṣe wá ní ọ́fíìsì àkókò lórí àwọn ìṣòwò ilé àti ìgbaniláyé láti gba ìwé ìrìnnà fún iṣẹ́ okòwò.
Go MB Chabangu Incorporated, reba eleji di notary le basebedisi le di office tsa rena kwa Pretoria, Johannesburg le Bloemfontein. MB Chabangu Incorporated e humanega ga bonolo go bareki ba rena. Go humana tlhagiso leseding ka botlalo, re kgopela le re leletše mogala go 012 341 4187 goba le re ngwalele lengwalo tsebile go admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, mo mathata a humanago tharollo.
Feel the heat.
All right. To make it through this journey alive, you're gonna need someone to teach you the ninja way.
Don't just stand there, kill someone!
Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful! This is exactly what I was looking for! DJ Khaled!
It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action. I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir, you know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you know, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Work on it at the back there. Blessings, blessings, yes.
Marcos. So what's interesting, there is this principle or concept of demons. And you have one case where Jesus Christ comes to a man that has got a lot of demons.
Mark 5.
Yeah. And then he takes the demons out, he casts them into the pigs, right?
Into the sea.
Into the sea, exactly, yeah. Now, actually, the demons, they are a metaphor. They are the metaphor of anti-colonial resistance, anti-Roman resistance. They are described as they are actually the demons. When they're talking about the demons, that's what the Romans are after. That's what is in their mind. The whole idea that if you resist the Roman system, you have demonic spirits. And these demonic spirits get cast out into the pig, right? And it goes into the sea. But something very interesting. You see, the name Jesus is always described as Yeshua, right?
Yes.
But actually, that's not really the meaning from the Roman side. If you analyze the name Jesus, so you've got G and you've got Zeus. It's actually Zeus.
Zeus.
Yeah.
They are God.
But exactly. But actually Zeus, in Latin, it means a hawk, a groundhog. Exactly.
Start again, Chief.
Yes, absolutely.
No, hold on.
Sure.
Start afresh.
Yeah.
I need to take a drink.
Marcos. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So if you go to, I happen to speak Spanish. So when I first arrived in Canada, I met a lot of Spanish people. I got people with the name Jesus. And I didn't understand how can a human being have a name like that. They said, no, it's not Jesus, it's Jesus. But it's written exactly like Jesus. J-E-S-U-S. But it's pronounced Jesus. Yes. And then, what is Zeus? Zeus is a hawk.
Yes,
Yeah. So the name Jesus would mean the groundhog. And it's very interesting that when Jesus cast the demons, he cast them into
his own tribe.
Exactly.
No, go on. You can't stop there.
Absolutely.
You can't stop there. So take us through this pig story. It's getting.
Yeah. So now, and one of the things about pigs is that pigs for example, they die hard. You know, a pig doesn't die very easily. You can, for example, cut the neck of a pig, but it can still run. And usually it will run. I've seen that in the village where I grew up. It will run, and one of the pigs actually ran, because it escaped after his neck was cut off. It actually ran into the water, and it went down and sank right down to the water. So now, for the Romans, the anti-colonial spirit is not easy to die. Exactly, it's not easy to die. So it has to be exorcised. So Jesus was an exorcist. You see, he was an exorcist of anti-colonial demons that needed to be cast out. And that's why even when you go to the part where Jesus is caught, right? You know, they catch him, and then from there, they accuse him of being a king. He says, this man says he's a king.
The king of the Jews.
King of the Jews. A Messiah, and he's a Messiah. And they ask him, are you the Messiah? And what is he? He says something like, so you say, something like that, right? He says something.
Thou hast said.
Thou hast said, exactly, yeah. And then for that, now the Romans didn't want to, Pilate didn't want to do anything.
Says, I have nothing. He asked for water.
Exactly.
Wash his hands.
But
it was very irregular, because as a Roman Empire,
exactly,
you actually want to remove these elements.
Yes.
And his wife came to whisper to him and says, you have nothing to do with this man.
Exactly. But here is an interesting thing. Who is Pilate? So in the historiography, Pilate is the governor of Judea province. Because what Romans did when they came there, they broke apart the Judea and decided to convert Judea into a province. Because you see, the Romans are the masters of divide and conquer. They did census there and said, okay, these people, even though they are all Jewish, but actually we have to establish the ethnicity, they are not really Jewish. Samaritans, for example, are not Jews. So you've got the Samaritans, and you've got Herod. Yeah, he's Jew, but actually, ethnically, no. They were conquered by the Jews many years ago, and they were forced to convert to Jewish. So if we can capitalize on that and separate these people, then we can rule over them. And that's why you have King Herod, who is a Jew, but actually, ethnically, he's not a pure Jew. Yeah, he's actually, part Arab and stuff like that. And so they make Herod the tax collector. Remember that?
Together with Zacchaeus.
Aha. And he becomes very cruel to the Jews, because these are people who colonize these people and force them to become Jews. So now he is carrying out, he's very vengeful against them. And that's what the Romans want. You see, that sort of situation. And so I think the whole idea really is that the Romans, if you want to understand the concept of divide and rule, the New Testament is
and by the way,
text.
let's not mix up terms. The Romans are the Europeans.
Yes,
the Romans are
the Italians,
the 7, 8 tribes of Europe right now. So we are talking about the Romans.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are talking about the colonial system.
Yes,
and I allow this conversation just to move towards the left so that we can be able to toothpick around the greater spiritual space of our guests that are in the house. But without wasting much time, I would want us to get into the business of the day today. And I hope my cameraman at the back there will take advantage and come closer to the reason that brings us. And while Mkulu is getting his stones in place, you are about to comment on something on his conversation.
You just took the words out of my mouth to say,
of course,
this was the formula. This was the political formula that we have somewhat also inherited today. If you are listening to the narration and how these stories were happening in the physical and the practical sense of the word, it is no different to what is happening to the African today. It's the same system, it is the same formulas, it is the same mechanics that are at work in terms of bringing these things. So
we are working under the, what law is in South Africa? Let me allow you to mention it.
Roman touch.
Roman touch.
What the first word?
Yeah, Roman. Exactly.
Roman. Did I hear you saying Roman? So you think there's a Herod in Palestine and Judea?
Yeah.
There's a Herod in Pretoria here.
And now we would ask who our people's allegiance to, when they say they are here to save us or they are here fighting for us. And we're saying this is a system that goes that far back in terms of tracing it back. Then our people who go into these positions are not going to change this position right now. We need a different kind of revolution, Master J. We need to really come back to ourselves and really understand what it is that they created the blindfold. You get what I'm saying? That they created this particular blindfold, and because of that, this is why we stuck with people dictating our reality, dictating from spirituality all across board, Master J. That's why you find people wanting to fight tooth and nail for a Christianity that is distorted.
What is Roman? Medicine is Roman. Education is Roman. Entertainment is Roman. Christianity is Roman. Our culture is Roman.
Even marriage.
Marriage.
For example, when you put a ring when you marry, it goes to the left, right? Yeah, that's Roman. Yeah, the Romans are the ones, because Romans believe that the left is closer to the heart. So the ring had to be put on the left, on the left-hand side finger. And that is a Roman tradition. Exactly. So when you get married today and you take that ring, you are practicing a Roman culture. Exactly.
Colonial,
yeah.
Culture.
And if you refuse to do that, you've got demons. You've got demonic spirits.
Pig spirits.
Yeah, pig spirits, that need to be cast out.
And just to come in there, Mtomdala, these are some of the tricks when we were speaking on Mkolo. These are some of the tricks that these councils did when they came together, where they misinterpreted certain words, where they twisted certain ideas behind the certain words that we have today. And this is where the spell is. This is where linguistics comes into scrutiny now. You get what I'm saying? Where certain ideas, when they are translated to us, it does not necessarily mean the same thing in that particular language, just like Mkulu was giving us the story of Jesus. You get what I'm saying? I never knew that it had those elements.
So now, the one with the spirit of Jesus is the spirit of a pig.
and what?
Jay, come back. So I just wanted to make that this particular analogy to say now, Mkulu makes an example to say now, those who were the resistance were now called the ones with the demonic spirit. It is in the same metaphor that this time of revelation, as it were, where they will say the Antichrist will arise. And a term that I've seen people point at you, Master J, a term that I've seen others call you an Antichrist. And I'm saying these are some of these demonic spells that we are talking about, where those who are the truth speakers will be given these terms. And in essence, the Antichrist is the black person who has to awaken this today. When you go into the esoteric studies, they will also tell you that even the 666 is symbolic of the neutrons, the electrons, which is making up the melanin structure, the carbon structure of the electron. So in other words, even on the subliminal, on the subliminal, they're trying to tell you that don't rise to yourself, don't come up to your reality, don't activate your godhood, don't activate your ancient memories. You get what I'm saying? Because now you have this term that they have put in front of you. Now, if you're going to now start questioning certain things within the context of the Christian or the religious fraternity, you're already the Antichrist. Anybody who will now question some of these things is called an Antichrist. And now we are saying this is what they did. They've put demons on the doors that we need to go walk through. They have put these devils, and most of the time, because now the devil has and this is where Mkulu was saying that we do not have a concept of the devil, as it were. We do not have that kind of ideology. When I'm called. So now when now you, as your point of departure in the searching of self, you start now coming across these spirit, whatever, and you call them a demon, you must know that you are fighting something else. It is a construct. It is someone who has constructed a particular ideology and concretized it, and it made it so alive in terms of your subconscious mind that you can't even break now into other dimensions, because now you will be entering into the space of the demonic worship.
I would have shot some of my friends here on my line who have been waiting for Mkulu. And it's almost an hour that they've been on standby, waiting to hear how do we... That was quite an elaborate conversation there on the colonial system and how it manifests itself nowadays. Take us through. Mkulu Zulu Matabo Zulu did some African mathematics, and he wrote a book for translating all the various Pythagoras theorems, geometry, what do you call it? Argometry, algorithms, etc., and converted all these principles into our own African languages. And this goes back into the games that as Africans we used to play when ladies would be there, the other game I remember also when our grandfathers would be sitting around a fire, and then they take one, they move, and all those games we used to play there. And all those, but as far as you go look back, the mathematical calculations actually of the highest order. And if you can ask Mkulu here on his research, for him to discover that actually that was one of the first calculators that was actually discovered in terms of calculating and putting numbers together. And I just want maybe to give you some time. I will not interrupt you. Take us through a small little lecture. Maybe 10, 15 minutes, uninterrupted. Take us through the mathematics, how, and when you are, by the time you are done, I hope you can be challenging other African academicians to say it is possible to write a mathematics book in Shona. to write a mathematics book in Ndebele,
Yeah.
in Kikuyu, to write in Igbo, and etc. So over to you. Me and Gift are going to be in some fruits here while we are waiting for you.
And I'll also use your stones there.
Please.
Beautiful stones.
These are mine. These are mine.
So when I was a kid, I always hear grandmothers, grandfathers saying, in our days, we used to use stones to calculate, to count. But what I found paradoxical is that everybody talks about that. Different people will tell you that, yes, our stones, our grandfathers, grandmothers used to use stones, but nobody really gets to tell you how they did it. You see? Cool. So that became our business now. Madisebo University College. We said, okay. Madisebo University College.
Madisebo University College.
Yeah.
Wherever you are in the world, you need to register. I'm registering in this university for my PhD.
Marcos. So now we said, okay, we need to concretize this. So I'm going to make a very simple example. And let's say we want to multiply something like 9 times 9, for example. And I can even use Mkulu stones here. So you need 4 stones in order to calculate. Solve this problem of 9 times 9. So 1.
Any reason why it's 4?
Well, you'll find out.
2,
3, 4. Right? Okay. And I want to find out what is 9 times 9. So I'm going to go to the ground. I'm going to put 1 stone here. So where I've put the stone, we call it column 1. Let's call it column 1 for purposes of cartography. Yeah?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Then I've got 3 stones left.
Can you give me a piece of paper in the back there? Hello, guys.
On my hand.
Can I have a piece of paper there, a white piece of paper, and a pen? I want to do a diagram here. Quickly, guys. We are in class now.
Yeah. So I've got 3 stones left.
A white A4 and a piece of paper.
So I've got 3 stones left on my hand. I take the second stone, I put it next to that one, I make a horizontal space. This is now column 2. So column 1, column 2. So there are 2 stones on the ground. I've got 2 stones in my hand. Now, so column 1 is 1 stone, column 2 is 1 stone.
1 stone.
Okay. I'm going to take another stone here from my hand. I'm going to go under column 2, sorry, and I'm going to make a vertical space there. So now I have 3 stones on the ground. I've got 1 stone left. And remember what we're trying to, we want to find out what is 9 times 9. Exactly, yeah. So I've got 1 stone left here. Now, if you look at the geometric shape of the stones, it's a triangle.
It's a triangle.
A right triangle. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret that a triangle is a calculator. We can do amazing things with a triangle. That's why you see a triangle on the calabash. You see it on our textile. There it is. That is a calculator. There it is. Now, I'm going to take the last stone now.
Just a minute for the purpose of come through. You have a pen?
Marcos. Yeah.
I wanted us maybe to have a practical thing. Then I wanted to show the people. You don't mind if I can?
Yeah, sure. We can move them. Yes, we can.
Give me a pen quickly, there, guys. This is your show here.
Okay. So you want me to put them on the paper?
Yes, I wanted to put. No, wait. I want
to draw a diagram.
I want to draw a diagram. Then we can put them. Then it can be visible.
Okay.
Can I have a pen there quickly? But you're explaining. You're explaining a triangle maybe while you're waiting for the pen.
Yeah. So a triangle is a mathematical calculator.
A triangle.
It's powerful. For that one, we need sticks. So next time I will have the sticks. You see.
So what you do is that you wanted 4 columns.
2 columns.
No, you wanted 4 columns or 2.
Oh, you mean for this one?
No, but for the mathematics, we can just put 4 columns.
Yes.
4 stones.
No, to put 3 columns.
Put 3 columns.
Yeah.
Column number 1, column number 2.
Right.
And column number 3.
Yes, yeah.
Then you want to put a line across them?
Yeah, you can put a line, is fine. In the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marcos, yeah, that's it, yeah.
We are doing a calculation here of 9 times 9.
9 times 9.
Using the ancient methods of calculating using stones.
Marcos.
I'll be showing you how it is going there. Let's get started.
Sure.
So the first stone goes in here.
Goes in here.
On the line. On the line.
On the line.
Yes.
And the second stone.
Guys, put your camera there on the thing, then people can see what's happening here.
So we want to calculate 9 times 9 using stones. We need 4 stones.
9 times 9 using
stones.
Using stones.
And we need 4 stones to do that.
You lift up your camera a bit. I want it to be looking into the shot here.
So I've put 1 stone here. And then I can continue, right?
Yes.
Okay, Marco.
So you put it on the line?
Yes, on the line.
Okay.
So I'm going to put another stone here.
There you go.
So I've got 2 stones here. And I've got 2 stones on my hand. Right? And then I'm going to go to, so we call these columns. So this is column 1, and this is column 2.
Column 2.
Yeah. I'm going to take the 3rd stone. I'm going to go under column 2, and I'm going to put it down here.
Okay.
And when you look at the shape,
that
it's
gives
now
us
a geometric, it's a triangle. Yeah, exactly.
That gives us a triangle.
Marcos. Yeah, the right triangle. Exactly.
That's why I wanted
Marcos, exactly.
So you have 1, 2, and 3.
Exactly.
Right.
So now, a triangle.
9 times 9.
Yeah, that's what we're working with. A triangle is a calculator. Okay, and a triangle also is part of the circle. Very important. It's a building block, it's a component of the circle. Okay, now I'm going to take the last stone.
Which is the secret?
Yeah, Marcos. And I'm going to create column 3. So here is a line. I'm going to put it here on column 3. Now we've got 4 stones on the ground. Now look at the geometric shape of the stones.
You have 1 triangle that way or another triangle this way?
Yeah, actually now I have 1 triangle, but this is a pyramidal triangle now. Right? Like a pyramid. So this is how they used to build pyramids. You see that? Okay, now we're ready to retrieve. Now the 9 times 9 is already here. But you see, we have to show you, right? Yeah, you need the spiritual eyes to see this 9 times and get the answer. Now column 1 has got 1 stone. Column 2 has got 2 stones. Column 3 has got 1 stone. Okay. Now we're retrieving 9 times 9, the answer. Column 1 is going to be treated, it's going to be called Lishume in Susu. Lishume means 10.
Lishume means 10.
Yeah. 10. So column 1 is Lishume. Now we are going to count how many stones are there in column 2. There's only 2 stones. So we're going to subtract the 10. The 2 stones from the 10.
That gives you 8.
That gives us 8.
The 2 stones. So
the 2 stones.
The first line here represents 10.
10, yes.
Kilishume.
Kilishume, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then on the second line,
we've got 2 stones.
You have 2 stones.
We calculate how many stones are there.
How many stones are on the second line? And then you subtract
from the 10.
From the first line. That gives you your first number 8.
8, exactly.
That gives you 8, yes?
Exactly, yes. And then we go to column 3 and say, how many stones are there?
There's 1.
There's only 1. We put the 1 next to the 8.
You put 1 next to the 8.
So it should be what? 81? So
81.
Check your calculator if it agrees with that. Yeah.
I need all my money back from the school, the teachers who took me to school. I need all my school fees back. Just like that?
Just like that. And here is an interesting thing. In a Western school, when they do calculations, it doesn't matter whether it's 3 times 3, 5 times 5. Let's say 5 times 5.
Let's do 4 times 7, for argument's sake.
4 times 7.
Just from now.
Now we're going to need more stones.
Okay.
So we actually have to remove this paper.
We have to remove this paper?
Yeah, we need more stones. Yeah.
Okay.
You said 4 times 7.
4 times 7, then we need how many columns?
No, that one you can't even write. It's going to be a lot of columns. Yeah, you can just remove the paper. I'm going to do it right here.
You did?
Or you prefer that to do on paper, maybe for contrast, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. You said 4 times 7.
4 times 7.
So I'm gonna do this. I need 1 stone. I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
That's 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna put 7 actually on the ground here. So that's 5. Now I need 2 more. Okay.
You want them to line up?
Yeah.
I can maybe help you. You can put all 7 of them.
Marcos.
There you go.
Marcos.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7.
7.
Okay. Fantastic.
There we go.
Yeah. So we've got 7 stones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3,
7. 2, 4, 6, 7.
Okay, fantastic. Makos. Now we're going to multiply by 4. Yeah,
by 4.
Okay, and we'll find out. We will read the answer here, and then we'll check with the calculator. Now, this white stone here that you see is going to represent 4.
4?
Yes. This. Yeah, when you see this, you see 4.
4.
Yes, Makos. So, where are my white stones? Oh, Makos. Yeah, Togoza Makos. I need a few of these. Okay, fantastic. Okay, check this out. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to remove this.
Okay.
I'm going to come here.
I'm going to remove this.
I'm going to come here. Remove that.
Do the stones on the floor have a numerical value?
No, this one doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yes.
You've put 4 now?
Yes, I'm going to remove this one. Do this. Okay. Now all I have to do now is to count these stones that are here. Remember? So it's 4.
This one is 4.
Yeah. So
okay, just for you to follow, we are multiplying 4 times 7.
Exactly. Yeah.
Using the ancient calculator. And we've already we put the first 7 stones. That were the glass ones. And to do the mathematics now, 1 white stone represents 4.
Yeah.
So we replaced all the 7 initial white stones with the other colors.
Exactly.
So now we are going to the next stage now. Where we can start to calculate.
Retrieve the answer.
To retrieve the answer.
Okay, so that is 4, right?
4.
That's 8. Sorry, 4 and 4 is 8, right?
8.
And this is also 4 and 8.
16.
That will be 16. We add the 4. It will be what?
16. That will be 20.
And then you've got this 8 is 28. It says here.
Simple.
Does it agree with the calculator? Yeah.
It's not complicated.
Yeah, there we go.
It's replacement.
Yeah, exactly.
So, guys...
So, Mkulu, you have grouped these two together.
Yeah.
So you said 4 and 4 is 8.
Yeah.
4 and 4 is 8.
Right.
Giving you 16.
Yeah.
Plus this 8, which is the 4.
Yeah.
Which gives you... And then you add the last 2.
Yeah.
Which gives you 28.
Yeah. Yeah.
So mathematics is visible.
It's visual. Absolutely.
It's not an abstract thing.
No.
So basically, guys, I just got this. It's like a light just went on in my head. Initially, what we did, we asked for you, Mkulu, to calculate for us here. Those of you who are looking, if you can see, we wanted to see 4 times 7. 4 times 7 using an ancient calculator. So he takes the first 4 stones. I mean, you can use these big ones.
Sure.
You can even use these big ones so that you can actually, you guys at home, you can see 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So we wanted to find out in terms of mathematics what is 4 times 7.
Yeah.
Then he takes the 4 outside and replaces each one of them with the 7 that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Then all you do is that each stone that you want to multiply gets multiplied in the stone that you are replacing it with.
Yeah.
So if we're multiplying this by 8, it means that the ones that I'm bringing on the table are 8. If I'm multiplying this by 15, it means that every stone that I'm adding on is a 15. If I'm multiplying this by 12, then every stone represents what I'm representing it with. Then you just come back here, keep your other 4 in the background there. Then you come back and say this is
8.
This is
if we're going with the 8.
Yes, this is but the stone now represents a 4, yeah? And this one represents another 4. This one another 4, another 4, another 4, another 4, another 4. If you wanted to work more traditionally in terms of me now becoming a secondary teacher, is that underneath every stone that you are now replacing, because you want to multiply the initial with this one, it means that under this one you need to put an extra 1, 2, 3,
if you had to go
4. If I'm supposed to be teaching a kindergarten, then you come around here again and say 1, 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely.
4. Then you come to the next one and the next one and the next one. Then all you need to do at the end of the dot is that you need to count the number of these ones that you have added to surround each. You are teaching mathematics, you are teaching science, you are teaching biology, in one. You calculate that, boom, you have your 28 right in front of you without wasting much time. Chief, take us through this philosophy of mathematics and teaching African children scientific method. When you come back after the break, you just take a small little break. Let me take some water to drink. Okay. I think my engine is overheating again. When you come back after the break, Mkulu will take us through the philosophy around this method of teaching vis-a-vis the modern way in which our children are being taught mathematics and science.
Marcos.
Hello. The fourth industrial technology era has forcefully changed how every profession has been working for its clients. The world has become smaller than what we used to think. Imagine the ease of talking to a person who is in Australia, China, or Germany while you are in South Africa, as if you're just next door. The ease that globalization and the fourth industrial technology have brought to humanity entail doing business anywhere in the world as long as you have the purpose and the means. It is our expertise as MB Chabangu Incorporated to advise clients immigrating to South Africa on various permits and on opportunities for travelers who intend to sojourn in South Africa for a longer period of time.
Ṣé rí pé ayé náà ti kéré ju èyí tí a rò lọ. Nítorí náà ìmọ̀ wa ní ìsìlọ̀ àti òfin àgbáyé ṣe wá ní ọ́fíìsì àkókò lórí àwọn ìṣòwò ilé àti ìgbaniláyé láti gba ìwé ìrìnnà fún iṣẹ́ òkòwò.
Ho MB Chabangu Incorporated, reba eleji di notary le basebedisi le di office tsa rena kwa Pretoria, Johannesburg le Bloemfontein. MB Chabangu Incorporated e humanega ga bonolo go bareki ba rena. Go humana tlhagiso leseding ka botlalo re kgopela le re leletša mogala go 012 341 4187 goba le re ngwalele lengwalo tsebile go admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, mo mathata a humanago tharollo.
Feel the heat.
Hold on. To make it through this journey alive, you're gonna need someone to teach you the ninja way.
Don't just stand there, kill someone!
Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful! This is exactly what I was looking for!
DJ Khaled! It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action. I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir, you know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
China saying that the latest outbreak is under control.
Feel the heat.
The cabinet has decided to ease restrictions on certain other economic activities.
I don't want to be a white person who sits by and does nothing, so that's why I'm here today.
Feel the excitement.
We are here to unite, because what we are fighting for is to stop institutional racism.
Feel the heat with StarSat.
China's saying that the latest outbreak is under control.
Feel the heat.
The cabinet has decided to ease restrictions on certain other economic activities.
I don't want to be a white person who sits by and does nothing, so that's why I'm here today.
Feel the excitement.
We are here to unite because what we are fighting for is to stop institutional racism.
Feel the heat with...
Well, welcome back, welcome one, welcome all again on your beautiful show here, Sankofa, with our beautiful and wonderful guest, Professor Dr. Zulum Tabo Zulu, all the way from the Free State, but living here with us in Johannesburg with an institution in Sandton, where he's running his own private university. And I would actually want maybe to do a small little advert for him. We'll put his details at the bottom of the screen there. Please enroll with his university. Let's start learning methods of how can we break down this whole colonial educational system so that it can be relevant to our own children. Some of your children have been declared dull and stupid because they're using a Eurocentric method of teaching them. And here we are with a man, one of our own, who has sat down and he has written a whole manual, writing mathematics in his own indigenous language, the Sotho language. And with us also is Umkulu Gift Uzalembete Majodina, who's a African, is an anthropologist in his own right. He's also a practicing indigenous healer in his own face. And I interrupted your lecture. Sure. Please, doctor, take us through.
Makos, Makos. I'll just read a small passage here that says, it asks the question, why mathematics in Sesotho? Why is this important? It says, the brain of the child first develops inside a mother's womb and gets wired using the language, the acoustics, and the cultural cues from the environment of the mother, even though that baby is not ready to become a participant in the real world. In that fluid medium, known as an amniotic fluid, the brain cells are being biologically programmed using the mother tongue as a programming language. After the baby has landed on the planet, the most effective way of passing cultural and survival knowledge to that child is through the use of the language in which the brain was programmed. The language of the mother is like a gentle lubricant which assists the acquisition of survival learning skills. Any other language is like dry, extraterrestrial, and inhibiting. And so basically, that is the whole philosophy behind this.
Wow.
That the brain of the African child has been wired using a native language, a language that is native to the brain, a default language.
Chief, let me be honest. If someone is in your class and they fail in mathematics like this, no, you must go back where you came from. It can't get simpler. It can't get simpler than that. And if any teacher can fail to teach science and fail to teach atomic energy, fail to teach chemistry. Because once a child, for example, guys, let's look at it this way. Once a child grasps this concept
that's it.
of mathematics in its totality, geography is here.
In terms of
the compass.
The
directions of space.
Chemistry
is right here. Yes.
Biology and atoms
is right here.
And cells are here. And mutation of amoebas.
All the way, Master.
So in teaching one subject, you're actually teaching all subjects. So, because I think what the African child struggles to move the mathematical mind to English.
Yeah.
And when you're in English, you must now go to physics. When you're in physics, you must go to biology. And there are different books.
Yeah.
And in your mind, these things are not
connected.
Yeah. When I look at this, for example, as Mkulu was saying, Mkulu Gift was saying, when I look at this, this symbol, I mean, 150 things are running in my head. So that what we are lacking are African teachers. Not just African teachers in terms of color, but we're talking about
African knowledge.
African knowledge.
Yeah, the knowledge of the cosmos.
That has been baptized.
Yeah, exactly.
Sulema teacher to us.
That baptized in black water. Volcanic water.
Dip them in black water.
Exactly.
These are some of the things that a lot of people will attach stereotypes to say the Zangomas are unlearned or they are dumb.
And the Zangoma knows this.
And the Zangoma knows this, Master J. When I'm sitting in my temple right there, I facilitate so many functions. As my office, because I work Namiti. That takes me into the field of chemistry.
Yes.
I deal with counseling. That takes me into the field of psychology. You got what I'm saying? So I'm dealing with a whole array of disciplines within the space. So now coming out into this world to say, then what is it that I am? It becomes quite difficult. So now you have people who are quantum in their conception of reality. You get what I'm saying? So you find other people now, when you give them these formulas that we find out there, they are almost dumbstruck, and they struggle in school. And then that person will end up thinking that they are stupid, they do not have an affinity for academics and all of those kind of things. Now we have to
meanwhile, it's the methodology.
It's the methodology
that is being used.
Because the wiring,
which does not relate to the waters.
Yes, and the naval.
And the language that you were hearing.
Yes.
In acoustics.
You're
saying something. I cut you short there.
And it's on these principles, Master J, where we need to restore our people. These are some of these ideas where we must be able to look at certain elements within our culture and be able to draw out the intellectual or academic data. You get what I'm saying? Where now we can begin now to say, it cannot be a one-size-fits-all for different minds in terms of learning. And that is the problem where they want to compartmentalize every single mindset. So for managerial...
Let me just harass you for a minute. This is a traditional stick.
Makos.
Okay.
Very powerful.
This is a traditional stick. When you make this thing, there's no ruler. Do you see symmetry?
Oh yes, it's beautiful. It's lovely.
Aesthetics.
And it looks like it was done with a machine in the way it looks. That's how flawless it is.
And it's all indigenous.
It's powerful. No, it's powerful.
Master J, we would be, many would say that Zangomas are busy and overdosing people. They overcook their mutis and then they overdose and do all of those things because we never think about measurement. I teach my students, I remember when I found this as a revelation as my counting system, was my measuring system, where I'm using my hand. And I'm saying, I remember Gogo will say, Mafavo, Ketla, ngela ufago mutongaga. You know, or no ufage. So now already,
so they say
so now when I'm combining these things, these are giving me measuring tools.
These are already measurements.
These are already
so
measurements. I know this. These are references.
These are already these are alreedi measurements.
These are already measurements.
Uyangithola
wena mkhulu ukuthi hayi ngifakele into engaka awungifakele into hayi and fakala into engaka uyangithola into ezinja. These are all measuring tools found
from
in our
the
system.
Smallest.
So now the whole idea to say that we are not scientific in our approach or we are not methodological.
In our system. These remedial waters are messing my head up. My head is like running in a is like it's going zing.
This is how we measure, where we will tell Notwasa ukuthi ha egogo sicela umfakele into engaka lo muntu lo. Uyangizwisisa. Umhlephelele into engaka nje kuphela. So
we're cutting this part here.
And we can even go further to now why would they do that? Because different mutis have different measurements.
So it can be here, it can be here, it can be here,
etc.
It can be here.
No muntu,
it can be here.
If someone who says footweni laphayana mkhulu, there is a timing. There is a timing esimbeka kuyo, because now we also understand today that people have high bloods and all of these things.
You don't put a stopwatch.
No, you get what I'm saying. We had our way on how to say, okay, this is my measurement.
After this, the message is cooked. They must come out now.
You get what I'm saying? When I kettle that.
Messing me up.
So these are the things that we are saying that when we give ourselves the opportunity to detox ourselves from programming, when we can give ourselves that opportunity, our elders left us with everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Guys at home, I want to give him Mkhulu here. Gift is always with me, but I don't think I'll be as privileged as many times as often to have Mkhulu Zulumatabo Zulu coming together with us. But today, allow me to abuse him a little bit more and really push him. I want you, maybe, Chief, we know the methodology is already clear. There are 3 or 4 books that he has already done, if not 15 or books or so. I just want you maybe to give us a beautiful old man's reflection on education and the African mind. What would you say? Say you're the Minister of Education for Africa. I just want to lift up this conversation to a high level. To a high level. We cannot doubt this. This is practical. This is here. This is classroom.
Yes.
But I think as I'm talking to you, I'm hearing much more. I'm seeing an elder here from ancient times who is transmitting a science that even universities. If I was running the country, I'll give you all the doctrines that are there. Just to break through this. No, when the star is falling down,
yes,
because you don't wake up in the morning with this information.
It's true.
The star fell from the heavens. And fell in your mind.
No, it is like that.
So I want you maybe just to be gentle with us and maybe speak to our educational institutions, universities, our academic spaces, way our education has been structured. With what you have right now and what you now understand, vis-a-vis university, and I want to challenge you also. This is from me to you. Remove the word university. Go and make it a multi-university. Because university is uni.
It is.
Which speaks of one.
That's it.
Whereas multi speaks of plural ways of looking at the process.
Multiverse. Absolutely.
So maybe that's my contribution.
And I appreciate that. And we are actually on that. That is sitting on our minds.
Take us through. Challenge the education system of Africa.
So I think it's
like a doctor now, like a doctor.
Marcos, I think I would like to say that knowledge is extremely important, but any type of knowledge requires a template. It can't just come out of the blue, you see. Now, what's interesting about African knowledge, Basotho, they use the word tsibo to describe knowledge.
In Shona, tsiba is fighting.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It's battling against ignorance.
Exactly. No, I like that. And it also is a struggle, right? It's a liberation struggle. Yes, I love that.
Tug of war.
Yes. So in Sesotho, tsiba is to know. And then so basically, but if you analyze that word tsiba,
sometimes I'm also downloading. In Ghana, in Igbo, it's Ndebo.
In Nigeria, it will be Igbo.
Yeah, it's Ndebo.
Oh, Ndebo, okay.
Ndebo is a greeting.
Okay.
So you can't greet me with foolishness.
Marcos.
Greet me with knowledge.
With knowledge, Marcos. So then, so basically then, the whole thing of knowledge comes now into the Basotho philosophy. And just to give a bit of a background for people to have the context, when generally we talk about philosophy in Western society, they're talking about 3 things. So one is, of course, knowledge. They use the word epistemology to refer to that. Epistemes, yeah. Okay. And the second one will be existence, and they would use the word ontology, which is actually metaphysics. And the third one will be which is axiology. And then that would include ethics there. beauty, aesthetics, whatever. Yeah. So they are basically talking about, those are the Western 3 categories. But when Basotho talk about philosophy, they use the word nahanosene. 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 So nahano is thinking. It's a state, a metaphysical state of thinking, nahano. And then sene is wisdom. But is a dexterous, I think that's what it is, dexterous wisdom. Yeah. It's almost like flexible, artistic. Yeah.
It has dexterity.
It has dexterity in it. Yes. And that explains a lot in this book. Nahano sen. Yeah. When Mosotho says umasene, they are saying this person has got dexterous wisdom. So the way they conceptualize about knowledge is that knowledge has to be grounded in reality, not in vacuum space.
The axioms. Ethics
exactly.
Must not be far.
It must not be far from practice. For exactly.
We are
So now Basotho have got 5 taxa of philosophy, right?
Taxa meaning?
Meaning categories.
Classifications.
Classifications, yes. Okay, the first one is pe. I won't go into order, but I'll count them all. So let's say pe. Yeah. So there's pe, which means existence, survivability, reality, all those things, they fall under pe. Another one is tse, which is about knowing. But the way they describe knowing is actually sensing, because
it's experiential.
Yeah, it's experiential. So Tsebo in Sesotho is sensory knowledge. Yeah, it's sense-based. So it's sensory, yeah. So when they say knowing, they're saying sensing. So you gotta have those antennas. Yeah.
Almost like a caterpillar.
Caterpillar, very important. Exactly.
The fingers are
exactly.
Sensing.
It's sensing.
You can read the air. You can
hear where the enemy. And the snake uses his tongue to achieve the same thing too.
To taste.
Yeah. To sense.
The lion goes in the bush and
and it has
the bush.
And it has the whiskers too. Yeah. Exactly.
The cat has got whiskers.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is
that's
sensing.
Yeah. And then so we have pe, which is existence, and then we have tse, which is that sensing, that knowledge, and then another one will be pa. So pa is actually transcendence. Is running. It will be vertical transcendence. Is the rising like that. Yeah. So because they believe that you should not be defined by the adverse conditions. You must transcend them. Yes. So that's pa. And then another one is
pa.
Another one
is pe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we've got pe, we've got tse, exactly. Yeah.
Pa.
And there's pa. And there's another one called ra. Actually, now I'm messing up the order. Let me put it in the order now. I think it's very important. The Spirit is saying to me, put them in the order. So
that's 7 minutes to go. Okay. Shouting at me here.
Okay, Mako. So the first one, let's say, the sensing.
Which book would I find this methodology?
It's another one, but some of the concepts are going to appear here.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one is mine. I can rather. Let me be
yours.
Let me be taking notes here.
Yeah.
So that I can enjoy this at home by myself. The first one is TSE.
So that is the sensing. The knowledge, the knowing.
The knowledge.
Yeah.
The knowledge. Then pe.
And then is pe. P-H-E.
That's the sensing.
No, pe is existence.
Existence.
Yeah, reality. All those things. Yeah, pe. And then the third one is ra.
No, pa.
Now we're coming to the pa. Again, I'm doing the order thing now. Ra. So ra is about the design. It's about arrangement. Yes, which is what we were doing here when we were solving the mathematics with stones. We were
mathematics, not mathematics, just arrangement.
It's just arrangement. Exactly. Exactly. That's it.
Don't break down these things.
And then 4 is going to be pa, which is the transcendence. The lifting. Yeah. And then the last one is tse, T-S-H-E. Tse. By the way, the pa is P-H-E, right? Sorry, P-H-A. Pa. Pahama. Pa. Pahama. Pa. T-H-E.
When they say Tala,
yeah.
Come up.
Exactly.
Come up, Mr.
Exactly.
Have a good tap.
I like that. Marco.
You know
Pastor J.
Aye, that's powerful.
Yeah, who done that?
So Te.
The last one, T-S-E.
Now Te is about the crossing.
T-S-H-E.
Yeah, it's a crossing. So basically, it's also transcendent, but it's a lateral transcendence.
This is horizontal.
Yeah, horizontal, exactly. Whereas the pa is vertical. Exactly, yeah. So Te like Tela, which means cross. You remember they were counting last time?
Yes.
And we had a number 6, what was Telela. That comes from that one.
The path.
It's the crossing.
The cross.
Yeah, the crossing. We are crossing from one number base.
Telamet.
Yeah.
Move the
crossing.
media.
It's moving the media.
Let there be a crossing.
Let there be a crossing.
Yes, man.
Don't be confined to your clan. You must cross and connect with other clans that you don't know. Exactly. In fact, marriage in Sesotho.
Preacher.
Exactly.
Take
marriage,
Makosa.
Marriage in Sesotho is about building alliances with other clans. That's the fundamental principle.
Crossing.
Crossing.
Horizontal crossing.
Yes, you must cross. Yes, you must go. That's why when Msotho Makoti now is gonna during the wedding day, there's gonna be an old woman who's gonna come and is gonna do something called walaya. So and
in my tribe, when you are having a mealie cob to eat, umbila, you don't just eat the mealies. An uncle or a grandfather, someone older, we believe that the teeth of the young boys cannot just begin to eat.
So it goes okay.
So I actually believed at one time that when you have a mealie in your hands, you can't just start eating it.
It was okay.
You must look for an elder. And run around the house, and when you get the elder, you give him the goes and he bites, and then he takes the first few lines out.
A few rows.
Then after that he hands it back to
poison.
Today I'm feeling
now that's quite interesting. Do they do that with Mabel or only with
even food? When a woman brings food, you must start eating it first.
Yes.
To remove the poison.
No, it's true. But you know why they do it with Mbila? And I'm gonna say the principle is not the same. It's not the same as in food. Yes, you know why? Because Mbila is not indigenous. It was planted by Jan van Riebeeck in Cape Town. That's why if you analyze the name, Mbila, but they call it Pony. Yes. Pony means the one that dies when he doesn't get the water. That's what Pony. Hupona in Sesotho is to die because there's no water. Yes. When the plant.
These are non-indigenous plants.
Non-indigenous plants.
That die if you don't water.
Exactly. The Mbila in Zulu, it was explained to me by a very erudite Zulu friend of mine, and he was saying, Mbila is an animal. Mbila is
the one with no tail.
Exactly. So if you look on that, on its anus, it has a certain pimple that looks like
the seed of the umboy.
That's why they call it Mbila. But lento le ifana no Mbila le. Sizayibiza Mbila. So that we must not forget.
We do not forget.
Where it comes from.
Look at the backside of a rabbit.
Exactly.
To see the same.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a roller coaster. Any last words for our guests? Just one in one sentence.
I've been really honored to share the stage. I've really been. If people consider me a master out there, this is the grand master indeed.
Last words for Africa. Last words for Africa.
We pay tribute to you as the great man behind this thing. You are the messenger of the court.
I'm humble.
We are greatly honored.
I'm humble.
We give thanks.
The geese don't fly alone. When you fly, you get others. And then we fly together. Your host, Maponga J, your program is Sankofa here on Galaxy Universal Network, where we're discussing issues and information from the ancient past, finding definitions and meaning for our present day as we are forging a way into the future. Today has been a wonderful conversation around African education, mathematics in your own indigenous language, Sotho to be more specific. And we're challenging all other students out there and all other professionals. If you hold any degree in any other fraternity, please try and interpret, translate your own academic qualifications into your own indigenous knowledge. Your host Mapunga J Chigaramboko Garamashamba Huda. Tiswana Chigarama kwe matanda no vora chirera na wana wewanji. Chibwe chitedza chinotedza wari kuri watipedo wanotamba nacho. Mutambo ruparo ware wira miti ya soso wanopembere na machira machena. Wachirwe mangura na wachiri vayo. Tisu wapfuli vayo wira miti ya soso kuno mwene mtapa ya Zimbabwe. Chisukuru V tinotend tinokudza kusvika tivonane zvakare. Don't go away. Stay around. Other programs are lined up for you. Don't do what I wouldn't do, but if you decide to do it better. Do it better.